जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्र श्री श्रीमद् एसी भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य बीबीटी फाउंडर आचार्य हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस एसी भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की गौर प्रेमानंदे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। So welcome to this morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. We have been discussing the prayers of Srila Sukadeva Goswami. Specifically, Sukadeva Goswami has been asked questions about creation, and Sukadeva Goswami, Anusmritya, remembering the Lord, he offers his prayers. And yesterday we began discussing the beautiful prayers of Sukadeva Goswami, which is as good as his Mangalacharan, because he forgot to offer it when he first answered Parikshit Maharaj questions. So, Nama Parasmai Purushaya Bhuyase Sad Udbhavastana Nirodha Leelaya. I offer my respects to the Supreme Person, Krishna, Nama Parasmai, whose powerful expansion, Mahavishnu, Purushaya Bhuyase. What does he do? Sad Udbhavastana Nirodha Leelaya, performs the pastime of creation, maintenance, and destruction of the universe. And whose second and third expansions. What happened? It has to be duplicate, huh? Okay, bust. I have to. What I have to do? How do you put it here? Yes, now I think. F7, huh? It's okay. At least online they are seeing. Here the projector screen is not working, so that's why they're just setting it up. It's okay. So what does this first Purusha, the expansion of Mahavishnu, the powerful expansion, what does he do? Perform the pastimes of creation, maintenance, and destruction. He does that. How? By accepting the three gunas, Grihita Shakti Tritiyaya, and Dehinam Antarbhavaya. And he enters in the universe as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu and enter into living beings as Shirodakshaya Vishnu. And who can be only realized by the path of bhakti and not by any other paths. So, right from the first verse in the prayers, Sukadeva Goswami is extolling the glories of bhakti. He's praying to the Lord to give him the mercy and the strength to answer the questions about creation, but he's glorifying the path of bhakti. And then in the next verse, Bhuyo nama sad vrijina chide satam asambhavaya akila sattva murte pumsam puna paramahamsa ashrame vyavasthitanam anumrugya dashushe. Again, I offer my respects to you, Bhuyo nama. And what does he do? Sad vrijina chide. The destroyer of suffering of the devotees by giving the darshan. The Lord destroys the suffering. Paritranaya sadhanam. And the giver of liberation to the demons. Asatam asambhavaya. So this definitely refers to Swayam Bhagwan Krishna, because only Krishna can give liberation to the demons whom he kills, not any other avatars. Yesterday we established that. And your form is what? Akhila Sattva Murtaye. Khila means, inferior. Akhila means superior. And you are the shelter of the mood of the Paramhamsas. Pumsam Puna Paramhamsa Ashrame. And among these two types of Paramhamsas, no, I'm avoiding that. We'll just, when we start the class, we'll do that. Because I'm not taking the verses. Pumsam Puna Paramhamsa Ashrame. And the giver of Brahman to Bhakti Mishra Gyanis and Prema to the pure devotees. Vyavasthitanam. As you are situated and searching through Karma Yoga, Gyan Yoga, Ashtang Yoga, Anumurgya, according to your search, he'll dashu say, he'll give that result. So for the others are not called as Paramhamsas, the Karma Yogis or all other categories. But the Paramhamsas are two, one are the Brahmanandis and the Premanandis. So although he gives according to their desire, but the Premanandis are more fortunate than the Brahmanandis, Prabhupada establishes. And then in verse 14, Namo namaste astu rishabhaya satvatam vidura kashtaya muhu uyogina nirasta samya atishayena radasa swadhamni brahmani ramsate nama. I continually offer my respects. Namo namas aste astu. To whom? To the Rishabhaya Satvatam, who always remains with the Satvatas, the Yadus, and he remains distant from the non-devotees, the Kuyoginam. And he enjoys in his own spiritual abode, Mathura and Vraj, with his devotees. Swadhamni Brahmani Ramsate Nama. And he displays his power, which is unequaled and unsurpassed. Nirasta Shamya Atishayena Radasa. So the Radhasa refers to his powers and Ramsate refers to his, pleasure what he takes with his devotees. So both his Madhurya and Aishwarya pastimes have been discussed here. And yesterday we saw this verse, Yad Kirtanam, Yad Smaranam, Yad Ekshanam, Yad Vandanam, Yad Shravanam, Yad Arhanam, Lokasya Sadhyo Vidnoti Kalmasham, Tasmai Subhadra Shravase Namo Nama. I offer my respects to the Lord with all auspicious qualities. Tasmai Subhadra Shravase Namo Nama. Hearing about the Lord is all auspicious. Yesterday we brought out that. And Yad Kirtanam, whose glorification, Yad Smaranam, Yad Ikshanam, and Yad Vandanam, and Yad Shravanam, and worship, Yad Arhanam. What happens? Immediately destroy the purities of man. Lokasya sadhyo vidunoti kalmasham. So yesterday we discussed the glory of Kirtanam. Within Kirtanam is also Smaranam, Ikshanam. In fact, having darshan of the Lord without hearing the Lord, that darshan is not so fruitful. That is why one of the names of the Lord is Shruta Ikshita. Shruta Ikshita means the Lord who is seen by hearing. Shruta Ikshita. And Kirtanam is also glorification, it is also worship. So the glory of Tara Madhya Sarvashreshth, Nama Sankirtan. Yesterday we brought out that. And here it was mentioned, Lokasya Sadhyo, immediately, Vidanoti Kalmasham. They are completely cleansed of all the contamination. And we brought out that how even this verse is, similarly spoken. Shrunotam Sakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Ridhantasto hi abhadrani vidhnoti surit satam. Then we hear, but why that vidhnoti, complete cleansing doesn't happen? Because that hearing should be done with taste. That hearing is done with complete absorption, with remembrance. That chanting is done with deep, smaran. Only then the Lord is situated in the heart, and being situated, he cleanses. And we were discussing how the glory of bhakti is that this is the glory of bhakti, that it destroys everything, but only because of offenses, the potency of the bhakti doesn't act. The offenses is what blocks uh, the manifestation of the glory of pure bhakti in our heart. So yesterday we discussed that. Now further, this verse will begin our discussion today. Vichakshanaaya charanopasadanat Sangam vyudasyo bayato antaratmana Vindanti hi brahmagatim gataklama Tasmai subhadra shavase namo nama. I offer repeated respects to the Lord with all auspicious qualities. So as I mentioned, there are these two themes in the prayer, which comes in the last line. Tasmai Subhadra Shavase Namo Nama. Previous verse also came. So Subhadra Shavase, his hearing is all auspicious. I offer my repeated respects, Tasmai. By worshipping his feet, Yat Charana Upasanada, the Gyanis, Vichikshana, destroy the attachment, Sangam Vyudasya. In this world and the next, Ubayata. Ubaya means both. And these attachments, where they reside? They reside in the heart. Which reside in the heart? Antaratmana. And then when the attachment is destroyed, what happens? They attain their spiritual goal of Brahman. Vindanti hi Brahmagatim. How? Without fatigue. Gata klama. Now this is very interesting. Sukadeva Goswami here is speaking about the Jnanis who have their goal as Brahman, and they are called as Vichakshana here. And these Vichakshanas, if they don't take shelter of the Lord, then their path becomes very, very difficult. Klesho adikrastesham avyakta asakta chetasam. Avyakta hi gatir dukkham. Dehavadbir avapyate. So only he is now actually, if you see, although he is speaking about the Jnanis who, by the Jnana sadhana purify their heart and become free from attachments and attain Brahman, the glory of bhakti is spoken here. Because only by taking shelter of the Lord, yat charana upasadhanat, they can destroy this attachment. And then they can attain Brahma Gatim. So that is what the verse actually is speaking. Now we'll see Vishwanath Chakra Thakur's commentary and see how actually Prabhupada explains in his commentary. Even the Jnanis whose impurities are destroyed worship him. So the Jnanis have to also worship the Lord in order to destroy the impurities. It is not their Jnana sadhana which destroys the impurities. It is the bhakti element in that Jnana sadhana. So there are these 20 items of Jnana, which in the Gita 13.8 to 12 are discussed. Out of these 20 items, there is one item, which is what? Mayi cha ananya bhavena bhaktir avyabhicharini. So there is difference between avyabhicharini bhakti and ahetuki bhakti. And this avyabhicharini comes twice in that last 6 chapters. And the last part also in the 14th chapter it comes. Mam cha avyabhicharin bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samiditaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So if they are practicing pure devotion, then why will they attain Brahma Bhuyaya? They should attain the Lord, na? Madham. But these are Jnanis and they want to attain liberation. So they perform avyabhicharini bhakti. Avyabhicharini means they perform their jnana sadhana with the bhakti element in it without any break, without any interruption. That is what is called as avyabhicharini. But they have a hetu. What is that hetu? That is liberation. So that's why they are not practicing pure devotion. So they also worship the Lord and become free from impurities. And ultimately, to attain liberation, Krishna in the Uddhav Gita says, Jnani chamai sannyasat. That the Jnanis also, by the bhakti, they have to give the jnana. They have to give up the jnana, give sannyas of that jnana, and then when they give up that, with the strength of that bhakti, they attain liberation. So it is the bhakti element which gives the fruit of liberation. So this is what is being pointed out. Ubhayata means in this life and next. Vyudasya means destroying. Antaratma means the antakaran. Those who do not worship the Lord's feet become exhausted. If you don't worship the Lord's feet, the Jnanis, they become completely exhausted. And to prove that, this verse from the Brahma's prayers from the 10th canto, 14th chapter is given. Shreyasitim bhakti udasya te vibho klishyanti ye kevala bodha labdaye tesham aso kleshala eva shishyate nanyatyata sulaturasakatinam. My dear Lord, devotional service unto you is the best path for self-realization. Shreyasitim bhaktim udasyate vibhu. If someone gives up the path and engages in cultivation of speculative knowledge, kevala bodha labde, he will simply undergo a troublesome process and will not achieve his desired result. Klishyanti eva. And the example is Tesham aso klesha eva shishyati. And as a person who beats an empty husk of wheat cannot get grain, one who simply speculates cannot achieve self-realization. His only gain is trouble. Just like, the husk which doesn't have a grain, keeping on beating it, the grain will never come. So the jnana sadhana without the bhakti practice, worship of the Lord, will not give the fruit of Brahma Gati. So this is what Vishwanath Chakra Thakur experienced. Prabhupada, in his purport to this, uh, he takes Vichakshana as the highly intellectual. And the highly intellectual are the pure devotees of the Lord, those who take to the path of bhakti. And Prabhupada quotes the most confidential knowledge verses 18.64 to 66, Sarva Dharman Parityajya. He quotes these verses. These are the highly intellectual persons. And then Prabhupada says people should take serious notice of this last instruction. And he says self-realization, where it's a confidential knowledge. And more confidential is when you realize the super self also. And the most confidential is when you realize Bhagwan by the process of bhakti. And ultimately, in the Bhagavad Gita, there is Varnashram Dharma, Sannyas Dharma, Yati Dharma, Dhyan Yoga, Karma Mishra Yoga, Bhakti, Jnana Mishra Yoga. So many bhaktis are being described. But the topmost bhakti is what? Ananya Bhakti. So this Krishna establishes in the Gita. So the different types of yoga are discussed in the Bhagavad Gita. And ultimately Krishna proves what is the topmost yoga. So there is different comparisons done in the Gita. And that's why Sarva Dharman Parityajyam for Arjuna means that he should give up his also Varnashrama Dharma, Kshatriya Dharma, and perform the Dharma of the soul, which is to please the Lord. And what will be the Lord pleased with? He will be pleased when you act according to his desire. And what is his desire now? That you should fight this war. So that is pure devotional service. So there is a question which Bhaktivinoda Thakur puts, that there are two types of seers who study the Gita. One are the gross seers and one are the subtle seers. And he says that the gross seers study the Gita and they come to a conclusion. And I'll ask you this question, that after hearing the Gita, if we come to a conclusion that Arjuna fought the war and did his Kshatriya Dharma, is it true or false? Yes. Huh? It is false if we come to this conclusion. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says it is false. No. So they are the gross seers, he says. But the subtle seers understand the highest purpose of the intention of the Lord, and they establish it through the commentaries. So if we come to a conclusion that after hearing the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna did his Kshatriya Dharma and fought the war, that is not the true conclusion of the Gita. Arjuna did not do his Kshatriya Dharma, he did the Dharma of the soul, the Jaiva Dharma, which is pure devotional service. Karishya Vachanam Tava. And your Vachanam is that, your desire is that I should fight. And I am going to do that desire. That is Anya Bilashita Shunyam. So Prabhupada is from that point presenting this, explanation. That's what Prabhupada, gives that the highest, intellectuals are one who take up to Bhakti Yoga. And then Prabhupada proves from Jiva Goswami's commentary that the Brahma Gati means attaining the spiritual form. Today is Jiva Goswami's appearance day, disappearance day. So, Srila Rupa Goswami is our what Acharya? Abhideya Acharya. Our Sambandha Acharya is Sanatan Goswami. And our Prayojan Acharya is? Huh? Raghunath Das Goswami. Then who is Jiva Goswami then? Who is Jiva Goswami then? Jiva Goswami is our Siddhanta Acharya. And Prabhupada's purports, you can see, they are all established based on Jiva Goswami Siddhanta. He mainly takes his purport from Jiva Goswami and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And then he presents his personal ecstasies in the modern present context. That's what is the Bhaktivedanta purports. So Prabhupada established the whole philosophy based on Jiva Goswami Siddhanta. Because even Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary on the Bhagavatam, he himself presents in his Mangalacharan that I have studied the Shad Sandarbhas and I have studied Sridhar Swami's commentary of the Gita and the Sanatan Goswami's commentary, and I am presenting the essence now in the form of this commentary. So even Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, his commentary is based on Jiva Goswami's Shad Sandarbhas. So that's why Prabhupada was very successful in implanting the Krishna consciousness in this world, because he stood to the Siddhanta of Jiva Goswami. So Prabhupada uses Jiva Goswami here. And then Prabhupada mentions that the perfection of life is to attain Bhakti Yoga. And this same quote Prabhupada gives what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives. And he establishes how Bhakti Yoga is the highest perfection. And Prabhupada is saying that a handful of real paddy is more valuable than heaps of paddy skins without any substance. Similarly, one should not be attracted to karma kanda or jnana kanda and even the gymnastics of yoga, but skillfully should stick to the performance of Shravanam, Kirtanam and Smaranam under the bona fide guidance of a spiritual master. So that's how Prabhupada establishes that the highest intellectuals are the Bhakti yogis. Text 17. Tapasvino danaparayashasvino manasvino mantravidah sumangala Shemam na vindanti vinaya darpanam Tasmai subhadra shavase namo namah. I offer continually respects to the Lord, full of auspicious qualities. Tasmai subhadra shavase namo namah. Without worshipping him, vinaya darpanam, the jnanis, tapasvina, karmis, danapara, specialized karmis, yashashvina. What are the specialized karmis? The specialized karmis are who perform horse sacrifices. They are specialized karmis. Yogis, manasvina, scholars of the Veda, mantra Veda, and the followers of proper conduct, sumangala, cannot attain any benefit. Shemam na vindanti. So, my question to you here is, there are all these different paths, different types of mixed paths like the Karma Yoga, Gyan Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Tapasvino, Jnanino, all these. But why Bhakti is not, path is not being discussed in this verse? Anyone knows why Bhakti, is not being discussed in this verse? There are all other paths given. Pardon? All the other paths all the other paths. Therefore, Vinaya Darpanam is mentioned. And Bhakti itself is the flow. So, any other thoughts? Why Bhakti path is not mentioned? It's mentioned indirectly. It's mentioned indirectly. Where? Okay, any other thoughts? Okay, without worshipping means bhakti. Okay. This is very subtle. Now, if I chant my rounds, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and I say, I offer this rounds to you, my Krishna, please accept it. Is it right or no? Huh? Pardon? That is wrong. Why? Yes, the act itself is bhakti. So there is no question of arpanam there. There is no question of arpanam. If you have this conception, then there is gyan avran happening. Your bhakti is not pure. Your bhakti is not pure. If you have that conception, your bhakti is not pure. So all these other paths, they are basically karma or jnana, karma mishmukti, jnana mishmukti or yona mishmukti. And because they are that, you have to offer it to Krishna. And then there is a imposition of bhakti on it. So it's mixed devotion. So that's why but bhakti in itself, the act itself is bhakti. So there is no question of arpanam. So that's why all other paths are discussed and not pure bhakti. Without bhakti, the practices of even great souls being users are condemned. So other paths need the assistance of bhakti. So now I'm going to give you an example like a devotee comes to the temple and the pujari tells that, please prepare for Jagannath, shak and rice. And they go inside the kitchen, do all the actions of cooking, and then give to the pujari to offer. Right? And then another devotee comes and he says to the pujari that I want to have pizza, so I'll cook in the kitchen and please offer this pizza. So what is the difference between the two acts? The first act, all the actions of cooking are bhakti. Whereas in second, all the acts are karma. And then there is arpanam. Then it becomes karma arpanam. That becomes mishra. And Prabhupada all brings out this in the purport. He brings out all this in his purport. So there is karma arpanam is different and Shuddha Bhakti is different. The Jnanis, Karmis, the special Karmis who perform sacrifices, the yogis, the studiers of Vedas, the followers of proper conduct cannot attain benefit without worshipping the Lord. The phrase Subhadra Shavase is repeated with each verse to show the predominance of hearing and chanting the glories, Shavase of the Lord. So it is being repeated. So how glorious it is to chant the holy names. That's why any yajna is performed, any activity is performed, there should be what? The accompaniment of the chanting. As I mentioned, I'll not go into the details of this purport. Prabhupada brings out the difference between Shuddha Bhakti and Mishra Bhakti. Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yome Bhaktya Prayachati 9.26 is what Shuddha Bhakti. But Yat Karoshi Yad Ashnashi is what? Mishra Bhakti. Madarpanam, Krishna is saying there. It's Mishra Bhakti. And Vishwanath Chakra Thakur says it is, karma, jnana, pradhani, bhut bhakti, he says. It is a mission of karma and jnana with a predominance of bhakti. So that's how the difference is. Now, further the glories of bhakti in this verse, in this prayer, Sukadeva Goswami brings out. Kiratahunandra pulinda pulkasha abhira shumbaya vana kashadaya शुद्धन्ति तस्मै ये अन्ये च पापा यदपाश्रयाश्रया शुद्धन्ति तस्मै प्रभविष्णवे नमः. I offer respects to the Lord of inconceivable power. Tasmai Prabhavishnave Nama. The Kiratas, Hunas, Andhras, Pulindas, Pulkashas, Abhiras, Shumbas, Yavanas, Kashas, and others of low birth, and those sinful by action, ye annecha papa, by taking shelter of the devotees who take the shelter of the powerful Lord, yad apashraya ashraya. The pure devotees have taken complete shelter of the Lord, 100% shelter of the Lord. And we have to take shelter of such devotees who have taken complete shelter of the Lord. Become purified of their prarabdha karma, shuddhanti. Even the condemned sinners, just a trace of bhakti, become successful. Even the most sinful of the sinful become free from sin just by not bhakti, just a trace of bhakti. Just by namabhas, they become free from sins. Those born in the tribes mentioned are considered sinful by birth. Others are sinful by actions. They all become purified. Upashraya refers to the devotees. Those who surrender to the devotees, accepting those devotees as gurus, become purified. Just by taking shelter of the proper guru, sinners by birth or actions become purified. This indicates that bhakti destroys the prarabdha and aprarabdha karmas. The low birth is the cause of impurity of the persons mentioned. The present experience of the low birth is the prarabdha papa or the prarabdha karma. The word Shuddhanti means they are purified. They are purified, their bad birth must be destroyed. If their bad birth has been destroyed, their prarabdha karmas must have been destroyed. So here there is a more detailed philosophical understanding which, time doesn't permit us to go into it. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is discussed. Ultimately, one has got a bad birth because of prarabdha karma. Ultimately, of course, because his prarabdha karma has manifested because of the sins he has done. The action, what we do, the reaction goes through these four phases. Aprarabdha, Putam, Bijam, and Falonmukam or Prarabdha. So the sinful reaction is these four things. Aprarabdha karma. Karma here I mean reaction. And then Kuta karma, it is reaction. And then Bijam and Falonmukam or Prarabdha karma. So because of that karma, they have got a sinful birth and they are engaged in sinful activities. But by coming in touch with a pure devotee, that body is designed to do sinful actions because of the karma. They have got that body. It's basically like a, previously we used to have the 60 minutes or 90 minutes tapes, right? And once you write on the tape and you play it, what happens? For 60 minutes, it will play. So the body is doing those kind of sinful activities. But coming in touch with a pure devotee means now they give up that propensity to commit sinful actions, right? They give up. But that body is designed to do those kind of activities. And the body is like that only. You can see that, that person is now given up his sinful activities, but he has the body. But how do you say that the prarabdha karma is destroyed? Prarabdha karma is destroyed because that body which was designed to do sinful activities, now he has given up those sinful activities. It's the same tape which is being played, because the body is there. But now what has happened? By coming in touch with a pure devotee, it is erased. When you erase, what happens, and you play the tape, it plays, right? Huh? But no song comes out. So this is the glory of taking shelter of a pure devotee, that the prarabdha karmas are destroyed. Now, many devotees might have questioned that, we have taken up to devotional service, and I don't feel that my prarabdha karma or aprarabdha karma are destroyed. It's a true thing. But Rupa Goswami is speaking about the characteristics of pure devotional service, which is Kleshagni. Characteristics of pure devotional service. Only when we take to pure devotional service under the shelter of a pure devotee, and those symptoms are there, only then Kleshagni symptoms will manifest, and then Shubhada symptoms will manifest. So as long as we don't take up to pure devotional service, there is purification happening to a certain degree. But that is because there is bhakti in the practice, but that bhakti might not be completely pure. When they are called by those names, it should be understood to be for practical purposes. It is not their spiritual recognition, for it is forbidden to identify devotees by their birth. This is another point he is establishing. Arche Vishnu Shila Dhir Gurushu Naramatra Vaishnava Jati Buddhi. It is an offense to see the deity form as stone, to see the Guru as an ordinary man, and to see the Vaishnava according to his birth. The rule is that though they have had low birth, they should be taught bhakti. It will be said, persons devoid of devotee association who cannot appreciate glorification of the Lord, women and Shudras, deserve your mercy. Dure Hari Kata Kechit, Dure Chachuta Kirtana, Striya Shuddhayas Chaivate, Anukampya Bhavadrusham. And in the Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna says, Mami Partha Epashita, Yepisu Papayone, Shriyo Vaishyastata Shuddhas, Tepi Antim Paramgati. So the essence of that verse is the glory of bhakti, that anyone, whoever it may be, by taking shelter of the Lord, he will become purified. One should, not fight on, oh, maybe why I'm born as a low birth, why you're considering me that I'm a low birth or a Vaishya or a Shudra, And that is not the point there. If somebody has a debt of 1 lakh, another person has a debt of 2 lakhs, and the person whom they have come to, he's saying, I'm relieving you of all debts. They should not fight. Why I have 1 lakh debt and why you have 2 lakh, and they should not fight with each other. Ultimately, they have to understand that all our debt will be absolved if we take shelter of this verses. So the glory of pure bhakti is being brought out there. The word adya in the verse indicates those of low birth. In order to remove the objection that the Lord cannot possibly consider all low cases, the word Prabha Vishnave is used. The Lord has natural ability, Prabhuta. It is not subject to logic. You cannot understand logic. By logic, you cannot understand this. This is the compassion of a Mahabhagavat, a pure devotee. And that's why the Lord is addressed as Prabha Vishnave. The Lord is inconceivable. And in the Ish Upanishads, in the last mantra, the inconceivable potency of the Lord is mentioned. That he can make a Brahmana into a dog eater. And he can purify a dog eater and make him a pure Vaishnava. That is the potency. And we see how Srila Prabhupada exhibited his potency when he started preaching in the West. Inconceivable it is to the human brain. Okay, the last verse we will take for today. Of course, I'm not going into this purport because Prabhupada explains all these different categories. He gives an elaborate explanation and how by bhakti one can get purified. And Prabhupada is again quoting 9.32 only. Let's take this last verse for today. Saeshatma tvatam adishvara Traimayo dharmamayastapomaya Katah valike ajah shankaradibhir Vitarkalingo bhagavan prasidatam. So here the theme will change. From here onwards, Bhagavan prasidatam. Prasidatam. That's what is the theme in Sukadeva Goswami's prayer. He alone is the Supreme Lord. Sa Esha Adishwara. He is the Supreme Lord, not Brahma or Shiva. Why? He is worshipped as the Atma by the Gyanis and the Yogis. Atma, Atmavatam. The Atmavatam worship him as the Atma. So the Gyanis contemplate on the self and the Yogis contemplate on the super self as the Virat Purusha or the gross or the subtle. He is to be worshipped by the knowers of the Vedas, Traimaya, the followers of the Dharma, Dharmamaya, and the performers of the austerities, Tapomaya. May the Lord Bhagavan, whose qualities cannot be known, Vitarkalingo, even by those free of deceit, Gata Velikare. Now, Vishwanath Chakra Thakur explains this verse in a little different way, and Srila Prabhupada gives a little different explanation. We will see both the explanations, and both extol glory of Bhakti and Bhagavan from a different angle. Here it is said that even those who are free from deceit, Gata Velikare means those who are free from deceit. Velika means deceit, Gata means those who are free from. Who are they? Brahma and Shiva. Aja Shankaradibi. So, the Lord's qualities cannot be known by even Brahma and Shankar, who are free from deceit. Be merciful upon me so that I can, Sukadeva Parikshit Maharaj's question was, explain me the creation which is durvibhavam, even for the Devatas. So if the Devatas also, even like Brahma, cannot understand this creation, who is the secondary creator, now Sukadeva Goswami has to explain that creation. So even they cannot know your qualities, Brahma and Shiva, but be pleased upon me and speak through me. That is what is his, that is what is coming out in the mood in his prayers. The excellence of those with bhakti was shown by negative and positive statements in the last two verses. So, bhakti is always proved by positive inference and negative inference, which is called as Anvaya and Vyatirek. So you can see the negative inference, by negative inference, how, even these categories, if they take shelter of bhakti, they can get purified. And the glory of pure bhakti was brought out in the previous verses. So like that, the excellence of bhakti has been brought out. When Suta Goswami says, Savai Pumsan Paro Dharma, by positive inference, he's establishing that for all humanity, everyone should practice Paro Dharma. Para Dharma means Shuddha Bhakti, which is Sadhana Bhakti. And then by negative inference, he explains what is not Para Dharma. Dharma Sonishtita Pumsa Vishwasena Katasuya Nodpade Ratim Shama Evahi Kevala. So if you're practicing Varnashram, that is not Parodharma. So by negative inference, he proves there. So similarly, these verses are about positive and negative inference. Bhakti has been proved, the excellence of bhakti. The Lord is now shown to be worshipped by others for attaining their particular goals. So the others also have to worship him to attain their goals. He is the Lord, Adishwara. He is worshipped as the Atma by the Gyanis and the yogis. He is worshipped by the followers of Vedas, the followers of Dharma, and the followers of austerity. His qualities cannot be known with certainty, even by those free of deceit, such as Brahma and Shiva. What then to speak of knowing his form, which holds those qualities? So his qualities cannot be known by certain, those who are free from deceit, like Brahma and Shiva. Then how can they know about his form? And what to speak of those Gyanis and Yogis who are not free of deceit, knowing his qualities or form? So this is where Prabhupada, in his purport, speaks that all these categories, that is the Trayamaya, Dharmamaya, Tapomaya, they are having desire. Mukti Spruha or Bhukti Spruha. Mukti Kami, Siddhi Kami, and Bhukti Kami. So they are all in this category, he says. Whereas Prabhupada says Brahma and Shiva are transcendental and beyond all pretensions. They are pure devotees, Prabhupada says here. And he is worshipped by the pure devotees like Brahma and Shiva. And they have the parampara, the four paramparas, which are desireless paramparas, he says. Krishna Bhakta Nishkam Ataiva Shant. Ataiva Shant. So all these are Nishkam devotees. Brahma, Shiva and all are free from deceit, and they practice pure devotional service. So Prabhupada here emphasizes in his purport pure devotional service. Anya Abhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadya Anavrata. So as long as we have Bhukti Spruha, Mukti Spruha, or Siddhi Spruha, then our devotion is not pure. So only when we come to this point where, we are Nishkam. Nishkam means we have no other desire except the desire to please the Lord. Then pure devotional service begins. So Prabhupada here is focusing on pure devotional service. And ultimately, all these other categories, all these kind of works they do, of austerities or building philanthropic works, all that, if it is not connected to devotional service, then all their endeavors are waste. So ultimately, Prabhupada is focusing on the Ishavasya principle. That ultimately, everything should be doubted to the Lord, and then, then it is fruitful. Otherwise, it is simply a waste. So that's how Prabhupada explains in his purport. So the last four prayers we will discuss tomorrow. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any questions you have regarding any point we discussed here? Any questions, any clarifications? Okay. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna.